The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quest and Sandhills Empowering the Agency's Data Modeling Platform for Enhanced Data Governance. Today, we're going to take you on a journey on how Quest data modeling offerings can provide a mature data management platform leaning towards data governance. First, I'd like to introduce a couple of folks that are on the call today. Anika Tishin is from Quest Public Sector Department, and she is working with us and has been working with Santal to bring this presentation to your doorstep. Second, you're going to hear from Kevin Weisenberger, who is from Santal, who will be helping us on this journey. So with this, why don't Kevin, I'm going to ask you to press the slide deck a couple of times for me. And we're just going to start off with a quick introduction to Toad. As you all will hopefully know, Toad is a data modeler and the entry point for basic data modeling design and data modeling. Toad data modeling does not have a repository and so therefore does not capture or collect the required metadata for an enterprise solution. Today's corporate data management initiatives often have requirements for project management that emphasize the need for data modeling solutions that provide a more collaborative approach, that have the capability to provide reuse and access to metadata repositories, and that can align with complex data governance initiatives. So, Kevin, go to the next slide. And this is where the power of choosing the right modeling tool comes in. And so what we're going to be focused on for most of today is the Erwin data modeling solution. Now, Erwin Data Modeler is a leading data modeling solution that has been acquired by Quest, and it is also a database design tool trusted by many organizations worldwide. It has a very user-friendly interface and has many advanced features, of which some we will explore today with Kevin. So the Erwin Data Modeler empowers users to create, visualize, and manage complex data models effortlessly. And we will see that in the presentation, an upcoming demonstration. This powerful tool supports multiple database platforms and provides comprehensive capabilities for forward engineering and reverse engineering. And it can ensure seamless integration with existing systems. Erwin Data Modeler tool also offers features like data lineage via the web portal, impact analysis, and data governance foundation with the data modeling tool. It enables organizations to maintain data integrity and compliance while facilitating effective data-driven decision making and allowing seamless collaboration amongst teams, which is one of the key points we'll be highlighting today, ensuring efficient development and maintenance of complex database systems. Just another couple of points. Erwin Data Modeler offers numerous benefits to organizations involved in data modeling, database design. Firstly, as we mentioned before, it provides a user-friendly interface that simplifies the creation and visualization of complex data models. It also helps users efficiently design and manage databases. And Erwin Data Modeler also supports the forward engineering and reverse engineering, as we mentioned earlier. Another key benefit that we will see is its support not only multiple database platforms, but also NoSQL platforms. Erwin Data Modeler and Toad Data Modeler are both powerful users for great modeling database design, each with its own set of benefits. And so here are some of the key differentiators that Kevin will be highlighting today. We'll be highlighting cross-platform support. We'll be highlighting the enhanced collaboration. We will provide coverage on the extensive modeling options. And of course, as mentioned before, it is the foundation for data governance. And you can see in the diagram here that we kind of have a maturity of, going from the Toad Data Modeler to the Quest features with all the key features and benefits, up to the Erwin DI, which is the enterprise data governance, data cataloging, and now data marketplace from Quest. But without further ado, let me pass it over to Kevin. Kevin's going to talk to you about the key features that we talked about within the Erwin DM Quest platform. Kevin, over to you.
Thank you, Robert. And let me just move on to the next slide. Okay, so again, today's discussions are the benefits of upgrading to Erwin Data Modeler to take advantage of the collaboration capabilities. Erwin Data Modeler provides enhanced collaboration capabilities, including the ability to share models with other team members and track changes over time. Erwin Data Modeler has more robust modeling capabilities, which includes the support for advanced data modeling techniques such as data vault modeling, NoSQL, which may be important for some organizations. And finally, what we're going to take a look at is how Erwin DM is the foundation for data governance. Data modeling is data governance. Okay, so the enhanced collaboration and team productivity features in Erwin DM enable organizations to harness the collective intelligence of their teams, resulting in improved data quality, better decision-making, increased efficiency, innovation, and skill development. Let's take a look at the collaboration and productivity core features using Erwin's Workgroup Edition, Erwin Mart. Okay, so the Erwin Data Mart or Workgroup Edition, think of that as your centralized repositories where Erwin users can store their data models in a repository. One of the core features of the Mart is the Mart Administrator, which allows users to be managed with permissions and profiles, security, Active Directory. You have your catalogs and libraries, and a standards management, which allows you to use a naming standard mapping as managing your words and abbreviations for your to apply to those data models, the Mart models, which you can then take and move them into a DI suite, for that Erwin provides. Also, think of Erwin, the data modeling tool with the Workgroup Edition license. You can have multiple users check out the same model from the Mart, and you would do any updates. You would get a three-way merge conflict resolution feature to make those changes. Erwin provides a versioning of data models. Any updates to those data models automatically get a version created. You can merge models from Erwin, either a script or a data model or another Mart model. And then you have a relatively new functionality is Git connectivity using the GitHub, GitLab capability, where you could just push either JSON or SQL to the repository itself. Again, to summarize, the Erwin Workgroup Edition, think of it as allowing multiple users can work on multiple models while keeping the models in sync. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the Mart Administrator, and we'll do a demo regarding that feature. So this is the landing page for the Mart. I'm going to just log in. Okay, so here in the left-hand pane, you have your users. Here you could see the users which are critical to the rollout of who has access to what models in the repository. There are different types of users. You'll see that most of my users are server users. There's a single Windows-based user, but you could also, if you create a new user, you can, if you configure your MART for Active Directory, you could add a group user, which you would do a search, and that would populate the users so that they would have access to the data models itself. Once we have our users defined, we could go into the profiles. So here, the out-of-the-box profiles include the architect, viewer, admin, modeler, but you could also add profiles here. There's a lead architect, data architect, and database administrator. So what we did here is we created a customized profile, and with a very detailed definition. This is what the database administrator would do based on that profile itself. So the profiles we have assigned to users are for improved controls. If we move down to permissions, permissions are based on users. And so if you take a look at, this is the highest level of the MART, and then underneath the level of the highest level, you have your catalogs and you have your libraries. So here, you could create permissions or assign permissions based on users' profiles to access one or more data models or libraries or at the MART itself. Catalogs and libraries are your containers that house your data MART models. And then we have the Central Naming Standard Mappings, or NSM. And here, this is one of the NSM, or Naming Standard Mapping, is one of the foundations of data governance, which we'll be going over later in the presentation. So moving from the MART administrator, we'll move down to Erwin Data Modeler. Okay, and here you'll see that I do have a data model that's open, but here previously I had connected to the MART database as a user called admin. So once I connect, all these functions on the Erwin ribbon are capable to be used. So you have your disconnect, which you will disconnect from the MART itself. You also have an open folder, which allows you to open up a model from the MART. Keep in mind that you could create a new model from scratch. So let me just go into the MART open. I lost connection here. Okay, so now I have this model checked out, but if I go to open, and if I go to one of the libraries, this is the model that I had previously opened as admin. So we also have a catalog manager. Again, this is where you can where your models are housed or saved, and within the catalogs and libraries, think of those as your containers that house your MART data models. The data models are stored in a MART centralized repository. Your versions are your development milestones. So whenever you make a change, in this instance, Accounting Classic, a new version will be created. And just think of it as an audit trail of all the data models changes that are made in the model. So those get created upon a save. You also have your merge. You have the ability to merge, in this instance, the open model. But if you'd like, you could do a merge with a database or a script file, or you could connect to a Mart and load another model where you could take your models, you do your comparisons, and bring those objects that you want to bring into this particular model, or even push from the Mart model into a different data model itself. Now, I have this model open as MMAdmin, that's the user. I also added a new attribute called company_email. So this model has been checked out. So for this next part, we're going to assume that two users who update the same model that has been checked out. In the example, I've added an update to both models with different updates, and I want to do a three-way merge to make this change into the final version. Let me just show you how that's done. So I'm just going to go to my second instance of Erwin. And you'll see that I've logged in as user, but let me just reconnect as that particular user. Okay. Okay, so now I've connected, and you'll see here under customer, I've added customer last name. So I'm going to make the first save as MMAdmin. That will open up the description for the version to make that change. And I'm just going to take a small snippet of information where I've added a new attribute to called company email, and has been added to the entity company here. So this is the change that's been made. I make the save, and now, assuming that our second user, user, has made a change, adding to the table customer last name, I make the save here, and then you get prompted for a three-way merge operation. So here I'm going to say let's see what those changes are going to be made, knowing that a second user has this the model checked out, as well as this user here. So that will open up. Let me just bring this over. So that will open up the complete compare, or what they call the differences reconciliation, and just collapsing all the differences, just to understand. All right, we see that a company has an update, and if we go down to the column level, you'll see that we've added customer last name. So I could decide to push that over to the right, or if I'd like to add those additional changes for a company, we could do the same. So this is a sort of a collaboration tool for any type of changes that are made that with models that have been checked out at the same time, the same model checked out at the same time. Erwin also added a Git connectivity where you can make your connection And if you want to take this this information here and generate the DDL preview, you could push this script to a Git repository, GitLab or GitHub repository. So that's one of the nice new features in Erwin 12.1. So this concludes the collaboration and enhanced team productivity using the Workgroup Edition. I'm just going to return back to my slide deck and move on to the robust modeling techniques and greater flexibility in data management. So Erwin provides advanced modeling capabilities that allow users to create and manage complex data models with ease. The software is also highly flexible, allowing users to work with a variety of databases, as you could see here, and integrate with other tools and systems. So let's go into some details. So think of Erwin is still a relational database modeling tool, and the tool continues to excel at designing and visualizing ERD models. We want you to consider upgrading to Erwin DM because recently Erwin added the ability to model NoSQL databases utilizing the round-trip engineering and model synchronization for an reverse engineer of code and integration. Some of the examples of NoSQL databases that are supported are Cassandra, Couchbase, Google BigQuery, MongoDB, and DynamoDB. In addition, Erwin now supports or offers a JSON and Avro file format, a graph database capability specifically for Neo4j, Data Vault modeling. So Erwin supports Data Vault 2.0 as a modeling technique across all target databases. Dimensional modeling, which has been supported since as far back as Erwin 3.5.2. Industry models, what we say here are the industry CDM common data model. These are standardized models which allow for data information exchange between applications and data sources. And we have our global MART models, or I'm sorry, MART reports offered in the Erwin GUI report designer. Has a variety of MART reports that can run across the MART repository. An example of this that we'll show is the column usage by name and definition. Let me just switch over to Erwin Data Modeler and we'll take a look at some of these modeling techniques that Erwin supports. So if we take a look here across the panes here, we have our classic eMovies, which is a relational database model for the target database of SQL Server 2019. So from this data model, I was able to format into a NoSQL model, specifically MongoDB. And if you take a look, you have your collection properties and your field properties, which are part of the NoSQL format. Again, I'm going to the JSON target database. I created that from eMovies as well. A simple click and it does the denormalization and structures for JSON. And if we take a look, we have the JSON object properties and field properties. This particular next model is the Neo4j, which is the graph database, which was reverse engineered from Neo4j. You have your node properties and your field properties. Data Vault, again, This is new in the erwin 12.1 release. You have your hubs, your link tables, and again, it's a format of how the data model is set up for Data Vault. In this particular case, it's a Snowflake target database. Then we have our dimensional model with your fact table, your dimension tables, and your outriggers. And finally, this is a CDM model, which is your common data model, which for this one, it's a higher education.erwin, but Erwin offers about 40 to 60 other models, CDM models, that you may be interested in using. And finally, if we take a look at, let me just go back to, I'm going to connect to the MART to show the reports. And you'll see here that these are the, you have your Erwin reports for the local models that are open, but also you can have your MART models, which are these models that you could run across the MART repository. And we'll take a look at the column usage. And I have to connect. Okay, and let me just bring up my report again. Make this a little bit bigger so that we can see, and I'm just going to run this. And here I'm going to pick up several models here. Okay, and again, these are data models that are stored in the MART database, and you could run the report and get. What you could do is take this and export it as a CSV file, and you could put this in. You could generate a data dictionary from the report here. So that concludes the Erwin robust modeling techniques and for data management. And I'm just going to return back to the and go to my Erwin DM Foundation for data governance. So we're going to look at three key areas: the modeling team and knowledge, design standards, reusable components, where we're talking about domains, templates, and Erwin provides user-defined properties that you could set on any property in a data model. So we're going to take a look first at the modeling team and knowledge base. Here we're talking about structuring a data modeling team. Both the business and data modeling play roles in the process. We'll discuss capturing business and technical metadata that can be used to build a data catalog. Okay, here there are different role players involved in ensuring a data model accurately reflects the business requirements. So the business domain subject or experts, they provide requirements to the data modeler and validates data modeling content, which may include data analysis and data scientist. Your data modeler develops logical data model from business requirements, supports physical dimensional database creation. And then you have your database developer, which build physical and dimensional data structures from data models and content, which the RACI defines level of accountability, responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. So now we're going to take a look at capturing the business technical metadata for distribution to the organization. And here you'll see the business and technology knowledge base. Sometimes there may be some confusion about what a data dictionary and what is a business glossary. So the business glossary is a list of data-related terms and definitions organized to provide meaning to terms used in an organization. A business term is a word that describes a concept. A definition is a statement of the exact meaning of a word. And then your data dictionary is a collection of specifications for data objects for a data model or metadata repository. Here are some guidelines that should be adopted. So for the definition quality guidelines, we call these the 4 C's, which are the clear, which mean, which we're saying here is no cryptic jargon or ambiguity, concise, a single sentence instead of a long paragraph, and contextual, specific to context in which it is used, and then some consistent term names and definitions to match. We will move on to the design standards. So the design standards establish a common way of structuring and understanding the data. Standards include the presentation of models, naming structures, classifying words, and implementation documentation for utilizing the standard. We'll talk about the difference between standards and guidelines. Standards and guidelines may sound similar, but they are different. The standard design standards and design guidelines are similar. So the standards mandatory obligations that must be applied to a model, whereas the guidelines are relevant processes, examples, experience intended to improve the data model itself. And here's these are the examples of metadata and design standards. We have our under metadata business need technical abbreviations, We also have model notation for the entity relationship, IDEF1X, data vault and dimensional data modeling. Also, Erwin has there are standards for model diagram in colors and names. All of this is managed in Erwin data modeling, the tool itself. Here are some examples of the sample standards are commonly applied to data modeling. The standard uses 3 different words to construct a single data name. Technical metadata names are generally abbreviated or codified in some way. Let's take a closer look at the abbreviation part here. And these are examples of how we would abbreviate all possible permutations of the word reference. If you standardize the abbreviations, you can infer that business names using Erwin data modeling tool. And then we have our reusable components. So data modeling does not have to be a lengthy and tedious effort. So if we take a look here, think of a dressmaker which uses patterns to make a basic dress. The dress can be altered to hem line longer or shorter. It starts with the building blocks, and when connected together, they form the patterns that can be reused. So this is what we're saying here with the building blocks. The patterns provide high-level building blocks that can be assembled, like modeling fragments of known prototypes, patterns for standardization, flexibility patterns that are basic and generalized, and give developers a place to start, faster modeling, and increased accuracy. Okay, so let me just go. We're going to demo the reusable components, capabilities, standards, and the modeling team and knowledge base guidelines using Erwin DM. And let me just switch over. Okay, so from Erwin, so the modeling team and knowledge, data object definitions of Erwin DM. I'm just going to open up a data model. In my governance. Okay. So under entities, you'll notice that for the object data definitions, we have a definition created, or a standardized definition that that we took from our Center of Excellence tool. And what we do is we make these, we add these definitions to this particular data model itself. We looked at the entities. We looked at, now we're going to look at the some of the attributes, and you'll see that we've added definitions here. So, but if we take a look at a relationship here, go to properties, you notice that the definition hasn't been included. So that's a common mistake for data modelers. The relationship has not been defined by the modeler. This may have been an oversight that must be corrected. Having relationships defined is part of the standards. So I'm just going to take a definition and add it to. So a sales order comes from a vendor, is a customer, and confirms the vendor's acceptance of the terms set in a given purchase order before delivery. So again, this is a definition that we took from the Data Modeling Center of Excellence and applied it to the relationship editor. So staying in the design standards, staying within this model itself, the model is based upon the standards that we put into place. The naming standards on the glossary have been abbreviated and were created based on a data modeler, Center of Excellence. Again, managed by Erwin Data Model itself. The words and abbreviations have been previously imported from a CSV file. So if I go to naming standards, this is the source. These are the words that have been brought in via a import, and these words have been set up as abbreviations. So right now, the names haven't been, the abbreviations haven't been assigned or turned on in the tool itself for this particular model. But if I go back to my names, model naming options, I'm going to use the glossary, and you'll see now that in the physical side of the data model, the words have been abbreviated from the naming standards. So now here we go into our reusable components, the domains. Let's say, for example, we'll go back to the logical data model. And we know that under naming standards, if we're going to create a table called delivery. So we know that delivery has the abbreviation of DEL. So if I create a entity called delivery, and let me just bring this over, I'll put it over here, and we go to the physical side, the abbreviated words, it takes on the abbreviations. Erwin also supports a concept known as domains. So domains are what they are used for is properties that have been set up in order to make your work more efficiently. So let's say, for example, I have a identifier here that was previously created. So identify a domain will take on all these properties where you don't have to reinvent the wheel each time you add a attribute. So I'm going to take identifier and slide it into delivery, and you'll see that because of a macro that we have created, it takes on the entity name as a primary key. Delivery identifier is now is the attribute. But if I go to the physical side, again, it's taking on the glossary words that are defined in the tool itself, in the naming standards. And if I continue, let's say if I want last name, I add that, and postal code here. So once we have this completed, we can take this model, save it to a data mart, and use this as a to harvest or ingest into a DI suite that you the Erwin DI suite. So to govern your data models. There also are template models that are supported in Erwin DM. So if I do a file new and I select, for example, 2019, and I pick up I browse the mart for a template model. This template model has, in this example, and you could use templates for themes and your UDPs, but for this one, I'm going to use it as a naming standards. So when I create a new model, and if I go to the naming standards, it automatically brings these words in, and you could apply them to the brand new model. Again, it's an efficient way of using Erwin for your modeling needs. Okay, so that concludes the data governance part. Let me just move over to one more benefit of upgrading from Toad DM to Erwin DM. Is the Erwin provides a bridge that the primary purpose of the bridge is to take a Toad data model and convert it as a Erwin DM file or compatible file. So this will enable you to use the Erwin data modeler to work on your data models created using Toad data modeler. There are just a couple limitations. The bridge only supports the Toad database support of Azure SQL, Oracle SQL Server, and Teradata. So let me just go over to, okay. Let's close this up, and I'm gonna go here. Okay, so this is the Toad DM to erwin data model at Bridge. So there are a couple of different, you could save this to make the conversion and save it to a MART directly, or you could save it locally to a disk. And I'm just going to show you how to do it locally. So that you make your selection to select the Toad data model itself. And for this one, I'm going to pick up the video rental .tpx, and I'm going to select the destination to convert to. Okay, and then you could amend or append a timestamp and go through the conversion. So it will go through the conversion. It's pretty quickly. You could do as many models as you like. And then if it failed, you would get a failure indicator under the status, but this was successful. So now if I go back to Erwin and I open up this particular converted data model, and let me just see, 718. And here's your, this is the converted data model, video rental from Toad Data Modeler. So what you could do here, if you'd like, you could go into your design layers, and if you want to derive a brand new model from this, you can use the derived model. But once you have that, so far it's very easy way to convert your Toad models to the Erwin DM using the converter bridge. And then finally, in the upcoming 12.5 release, which will be coming out later this year, Erwin is going to put out a data model called Erwin version 12.5. A couple of nice key features is the Project Explorer, where it will allow users to organize all database models involved in your application development process into a single project in Erwin DM. Erwin 360, it will provide a unified and central visual of your Erwin MART models to help you manage, review, and govern on-premise or SaaS and the cloud data models. You have your EMC enterprise modeling compliance, which will maintain data quality, has been added to the Erwin MART portal. And then you have your enterprise glossary, where you can map business terms to the object of categories. And then finally, you have a PII indicator on an Erwin model, personally identifiable information. So for columns or attributes labeled PII, you can now choose to display a PII indication on the model diagram via diagram properties. So finally, I'm going to pass this back to Robert or John to discuss some of the offerings Erwin would like to provide.
Kevin, thank you very much indeed. There was so much there, from the cross-platform support, to the enhanced collaboration, to the extensive modeling options, and the default industry models that come with the tool, as well as the foundation for data governance. We hope that you, our audience, have enjoyed this presentation. And just before we go to questions, we did want to say that on behalf of Quest and Santal, that if you are interested in a free trial of Erwin DM, you can contact Santal Consultants. You can go to our website. We will also be following up with email. And for those federal clients that do purchase their licenses through Santil, we're going to be offering some free training where we provide the manuals and live instructors to enable you to enjoy all the wonderful benefits that you have seen Kevin show here. So with that, we will follow up with a email, and we will go into our Q&A. And I'd like to thank everyone for their time and attention today, and we look forward to hearing from you shortly. Kevin, if you just want to bring up the question slide, that'd be great.
Sure. Thank you.